Hello everyone, good afternoon. Can anyone confirm voice is clear, screen is visible and everything is fine? Hi, cool. Hi Gary, good afternoon. So let's start now. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar. So I'll start with my small introduction and then the agenda for this. So myself Kumar, I have 15 years experience into IT industry. So I'm working as a senior consultant and Microsoft certified trainer for Microsoft courses. I train on different technologies, including Windows servers, AD, SCCM, Exchange, and Office 365, including Azure Infrastructure as a Service. I'm certified on Microsoft technologies, including multiple certifications from 2003 to 2012, Hyper-V, and Azure certified. And I'm certified trainer from last 12 years. So this webinar, our course agenda is to talk about introduction to cloud and introduction to VNet, which is virtual networking, the benefits of resource groups in Azure, and what are the different methods we can have to build a virtual machines in Azure environment. And after that, we will take Q&A sessions. And in between also, if anybody have any doubt or any clarification, we can discuss that point as well. So course agenda will be introduction to cloud computing, introduction to network, how networking works in Azure, and what are the use case for resource groups, and how to create virtual machines, and what are the different types of virtual machine capabilities we have in Azure, and configuring the Azure machine as well. So introduction to cloud computing. Any provider, if you talk about industry leading cloud providers, number one is AWS, second is your Microsoft Azure, third is Google Cloud, and so on. Any cloud company which is saying I'm a cloud provider, the basic features or characteristics for cloud computing is on-demand self-service. On-demand self-service means you can spin up your resources any point of time, and that to be without any specific permission. Even you are at midnight, you can spin up a big server on Azure or cloud. So that's called, on-demand self-service. So which is very difficult job in on-premises in old days. To take a new server on hire, we need to go with the company procurement policies and so on. But in cloud, it will be very straightforward and very easy. Broad network access. Broad network access means we can we can access our resources from any device over the internet, and multiple device access is possible. Resource pooling, you are not purchasing the hardware. Microsoft purchased that infrastructure cost for you, and you are using that facility as a resource. So end of the day, you are just doing the resource pooling, and you are just paying whatever whatever the number of hours you use for. Rapid elasticity means in on-premises environment, in a physical on-premises environment, it's very difficult to increase and decrease the server capacity. Say example, you purchase some capacity server and 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 going forward, the workload required more capacity of CPUs and memory. So with a rapid elasticity, you can spin up, spin down capacity of a VM at any point of time without deleting the VM. Example, 8 GB virtual machine you can increase to 32 gig within a single click. Measured services, the biggest advantage of cloud is you have to pay only whatever the number of hours or minutes you are using in a previous month. So they calculate in a proper way on a minute basis, and that's what they called as measured services. Cloud services. When we say any services, when you are going to put into a cloud, we divide that cloud service into, or any service into three categories. One is software as a service, second is platform as a service, and third is infrastructure as a service. The difference is software as a service like Office 365. So any software which comes like a package means you no need to install that service and it automatically comes ready to use, and it's a license based application. Such kind of examples we called as software as a service. And Office 365 is the biggest example of this technology or software as a service. Second is platform as a service. Platform as a service means any technology which comes like a hosting kind of services, like you put your web application, websites. So such kind of services where you host your applications, and that too you're not purchasing the infrastructure, and Microsoft will manage those backend servers. So like typical hosting scenario where you hosted and you no need to take care of backend servers. So so that particular things comes under platform as a service. Third is infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service means you built your own data center where everything is under your control. It includes compute, network, storage, load balancers, firewalls. So whatever the services comes under built up data center things, we called as infrastructure as a service. And you have full control on infrastructure as a service resources. In terms of Azure data centers, we called as regions. So whenever you spin up any service in Azure, you have to use one of the data center based on your customer location. And Microsoft clearly says that each region they have two data centers. Say example, I'm talking about East US. So East US itself, they have two data centers. Let me draw one small diagram. Let's talk about East US. If you say East US, you cannot spin up any services in Azure until unless you define some location. Say example, based on the customer location. So we decided, let's do East US. So East US is your location. And what Microsoft did, two data centers in that location, spread some distance between these two locations, say 40 miles. So they treat this as a data center one and second one as a two. One like a primary, second like a secondary. So as a customer, when we spin up any services in East US, it typically goes to primary data center, and they have then replica to the secondary data center. So that's the architecture of Azure. And Microsoft clearly says in every region they have typical two data centers in each region. And few data centers or few regions they have three as well. Just one second. So now next is just one second. Okay. So next is when we talk about these regions, Microsoft clearly says you no need to define the data should go to which region. You are supposed to use only the region. And internally, Microsoft decides it will go to which data centers. They have two. So one they typically treat like a primary, and second they treat like a secondary. So you are not supposed to select the data center level. You're supposed to select only up to the region level. Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, so that's the architecture. And second thing is they have few data centers which Microsoft decided it's reserved for the government purpose, like for US government, Texas, Virginia, and few data centers reserved for Chinese government, for the China data center. So these regions are reserved, and rest all other regions are publicly available for everyone. Anyone can spin up their resources in those regions, except few of them. Now, there is a very important concept in resource manager in Azure. So resource manager is like like a container. So where you put some resources based on life cycle of its resources. So let me explain what is life cycle of resources with a diagram. So typically you have a subscription. Subscription is when you purchase Azure subscription. So say example, I have an enterprise license of this Azure subscription. I want to manage 6 customers. So I created couple of resource groups like a containers. And I have given a name called resource group number one for test environment for customer one. Second is resource group number two for prod production environment for customer one. Same way, another resource group I have, resource group 3. This is for test environment for customer 2 and customer 3. and we typically put only VMs. So it means you can create the resource group like a container where you put so many resources, VMs, networks, storage. In this case, I'm going to put only VMs. So typically the purpose is based on the business unit purpose, test or proj. Sometimes we use resource group based on the purpose of resources, so that for a customer to test environment VMs are in this resource group. So this we need to arrange based on the requirement. What kind of requirement we called as? We called as role-based access control, permissions. So permissions we assign at subscription level, which is the highest priority, and second is at resource group level, which is priority number two. And third is the lowest priority for the resource level, specific resource. So typically, say example, when you join one company as an Azure admin and you join as a network admin or Azure network admin, so definitely we can give you network permissions so that you can do the network related job, and you should not be able to do other jobs or extra permissions. So we have two choice. We can give at subscription level where you manage all resource groups. So all the network things you can manage. Or if we hired you for a specific customer or something specific, then we can give at resource group level. The first choice will be a subscription level. Any permissions you given at subscription level, it should go to resource group level automatically, like inherited. So on what basis you are going to create this resource group? That's based on your business demands, based on how your role-based access permission will flow. But I took very typical common examples like test environment for a customer, production for a customer, and test and production for a customer, only VMs based on the resource type as well. So any combination you can use and create the resource groups. Now, that's the meaning of resource group. I'll do a demo for this as well. So resource groups we discussed, like it serves as logical grouping of resource where you keep your resources based on permission flow or based on test environment and production. So any resources when you are creating in Azure, resource group is mandatory. And resource group is tied up with the location or region. And you can move your resources between one container to another. Say example, I have a one resource group called RJ1 and I have a one VM. So I can move my VM from test environment to a production environment. So some resources can be moved, but the important point to consider is when you move some resource like VM have some dependency like storage. So their dependency also moved as soon as you move the VM. So that's very important point to remember. Okay. So do you have any question in between, just like a quick, if you have any question, I can answer in between as well. If anybody have, they can they can raise their hand and they can shoot me a chat message as well. Okay. So next is, so this is we know the typical use of resource groups. Now let me do a small demo. So I'm into this portal.azure.com and resource groups, and I'm going to create my resource group. Add. So test environment for customer A and East US. Add cloud environment for customer A, East US. So everything under resource group, add, and tomorrow, whenever I want to create some resources, I will keep under this container. Okay. Next is networking. Networking in Azure we called as Azure VNet or virtual network. So as you know, in on-premises, we always assign private IP addressing to Azure VM or to on-premises from last, many years. That's the concept is still same in Azure. Whenever you want to give IP addressing to Azure VM, you need to define a VNet. VNet asks you to create an address space. Address space is typically like address range, and this address range should be from the class private class, which is in class A we have 10 dot range, which is in free class, and class B we have 172.16 to 172.31, and same way in class C we have 192, 168, and further subnets are free in class 3. IP addressing, as soon as you assign IP address or as soon as you create a VNet, by default Azure VM will get dynamic IP like a DSCP. So VNet is typically called as DSCP of Azure. And but the drawback is, let me keep it some important points here. So take example address space. I have decided, okay, to build a big environment in Azure. So I have decided class B subnet, so 16, and typically 16 is, approx 65,000 addresses in class B. And then we define subnet 1 and subnet 2 and so on. So subnet 1 will be 00 slash based on your demand, based on your requirement. So 172.16 1.0. 24 means typically 254, but in Azure 251. 251 means 3 IP addresses are always reserved. Microsoft not disclose the reason behind this, but the actual number of usable IP in per subnet in /24 will be 251. Then very important concept in this. So when you create a typical VM1 in Azure, so you will get the first IP is IP number 4 because first 3 are reserved. So same way, if it is VM2, it will be 0.5. The drawback or the architecture part is as soon as you shut down VM1 and create a new VM3, so typically they release this IP. So as soon as you shut down the VM, the 0.4 is free. So free means, and after that, when you spin up a new VM, which is VM number 3, then automatically it get the old IP. So that's a general concept, releasing of IP as soon as you shut down. That's why we always do a best practice. We always do kind of static or reserved via VNet. I will show you how we can reserve that IP via VNet, and that will be a permanent IP for that VM. Especially on a servers, we always follow static permanent IP. One more point. So typically, how we give IP addresses to a on-premises servers? Typically static, which is we called as manually. Second is through a DSCP. DSCP means like automatic. And third is DSCP reservation. So static manually is not supported in Azure. And this is default. We discussed already with the VNet. We can do that. And through VNet also, we can reserve. You know, this is also supported. So which will be a basic configuration. And after that, the DSCP or VNet always release a permanent IP to a Azure server. Now, name resolution. Typically, on-premises is we have a DNS server, and Azure also we have a DNS. So what Microsoft said, if you have one environment, it is directly in Azure. You don't have anything like on-prem, then you use Azure DNS. So if you don't have anything on-prem, then you can use Azure DNS. If you have on-premises environment, on-premises environment, let me, I'm not able to select that, because of the screen. Yeah. So when you have on-premises environment and going forward in future, you are integrating with Azure, definitely your Active Directory environment is running here. This is on-premises Active Directory. This is your Azure VM. So if this hybrid environment is running, so then we need to make sure this VM should be pointing towards on-prem DNS or on-prem AD. I hope you understand this point. So if this is a scenario, then we use on-prem DNS. So you see the default means Microsoft provide this DNS, and we no need to take care if everything is in Azure. But if you are integrating your on-premises with Azure, cross-premises environment, hybrid environment, then we need to use custom DNS. Custom DNS means we need to use on-prem DNS. Now, we will do, in going forward classes, full demo, full everything on the each topic. So next very important concept we have in Azure is connectivity types. So connectivity type is one is point to site, one is site to site, and one is express route. What is point to site? So so take example, I have Azure environment. So typically we created a VNet. This is my VNet. Couple of Azure virtual machines. So I am a delivery manager for a customer, and typically I'm traveling different locations based on the projects. So in that case, I want to manage my entire Azure from my remote PC. So the concept is, can I integrate my remote PC to Azure? So answer is yes. You have to create a gateway, and as soon as your remote PC have internet, you are integrating this thing. One machine to this gateway. So this will make a secure tunnel to reach to this VNet, and then it reaches to the VNet, VMs. So you can typically take RDP of these machines via local IP. So all this integration is possible with point to site. So typical definition is when you want to do a network integration between one machine to VNet, we call it as point to site. Second is, if you have on-prem, on-prem means existing environment of a customer, and then you have whatever the workloads you have in on-prem, and you have a router, internet, and then you integrate your internet from on-prem to the gateway we called as site to site. So in this case, all the workloads will communicate to Azure and vice versa. That's technical network communication between two different locations. The location is one on-prem and second is Azure. And again, to make this site to site, you have to use a gateway. So that concept is still same. So let me go to one typical scenario diagram onto sites, which I already explained when you want to integrate any remote PC to Azure that we called as point of site. So at that time, we use this gateway subnet, and gateway, once you define gateway, then Microsoft will give this gateway PIP, public IP, and to make this gateway internally, we need to create a gateway subnet. In the demo part, we'll see that configuration. Second is site to site, and site to site is when you integrate any on-premises to Azure, entire on-premises to Azure, you can say. So then this VPN tunnel, so all on-premises will ping, communicate. I can join Azure VM with a domain. All this real hybrid environment we called as site to site. And third is VNet to VNet. When you have two clouds, two different Azure regions, each region have one gateway, and when you are integrating two gateways each other, one is east US, one is west US, so integration of two different clouds, two different regions with the help of two different gateways we called as VNet to VNet. So dynamic and static IP, I already explained you. Very important planning parts, because you are doing cloud now, and in future you are going to integrate on premises as well. So what is the best practice, like which IP address space we should use? So then there's only one best practice, that any IP address which you are using in Azure should not be overlapped. Should not be overlapped means it should not be used anywhere in on premises. So that's very important best practice. How to create VNet through a portal. Let's do a small demo now. So create networking. Are you able to hear me? Okay, cool. So there is a problem with this URL. I don't know why it is. Let me go to. Okay, so I thought it's internet issue maybe, but no, it's Azure end. We will try after 2 minutes because sometime it happened with the portal. Sometime it's a Microsoft end. Okay, and okay, so and second is a PowerShell. So so then typical diagrams, if you see, if if you see now we have West US. If we need to integrate with East US, we call it as VNet to VNet. So when typically two different clouds, two different networks in two different regions, we call it as VNet to VNet. And and if you want to integrate one machine with Azure, we call it as point to site. And if you want to integrate entire on-premises to Azure, we call it as site-to-site. One more point which we missed out is VNet peering. So if you have two different clouds in same region, so say example, one virtual network one, one virtual network two, but both are in East US, we call it as VNet peering. What is express route? Express route is very important for migrations, once we move to Azure. So you see, typically I am using on-prem workloads, and Microsoft did something very, very high-end backbone wire network connectivity pipe, which goes to Azure region, very high-end connectivity. So what Microsoft did, Microsoft did the tie-up with ISPs, 37 ISPs, in the world. If you are a customer and you are using one of the ISP, so this ISP will help you to talk to this backend pipe and you reach to the Azure. So express route is the fastest connectivity which integrates on-premises to Azure. So what do you mean by fastest? So typically when you use gateway kind of concept, you will get 1.5 Gbps connectivity. But when you do express route, which is M, MPLS private network, then you will get 1 up to 10 gigabyte per second. So this express route is recommended when you are migrating more workloads, to Azure. So 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 typically these changes we have to do at router level, and your company NOC team, ISP team, and Microsoft NOC team will do that changes to build a express route. Okay. Now, virtual machines. So virtual machines, we have so many types of virtual machine: A series, D series, E series, F series, G series. So what is typical difference between A series and other series? So typically, if you talk about pricing or tier point of view or SLA point of view, so Microsoft divide the virtual machine into two categories. One is basic tier and one is standard tier. The difference is Basic tiers includes 5 virtual machine, A0 to A5, and it's good for test environment because they don't have SLA. If something gets wrong with these VMs, Microsoft will not support. So if you have a production environment, even high level POC test environment for a customer, I recommend we'll go with the standard tier. In standard, you have so many choices. D1 to D10, E1 to E10, and further so many options. So what is the big difference between D series, F series, and G series? So the real difference is A series won't support premium storage. So if you have higher workload which required more IO, will in that case, if you have a A series virtual machine, they can't communicate to the premium. So if you need premium storage, high end, better IO for a storage, you have to be D series and above. That's the big difference between, A versus D and others. What else you have a difference between D and E or D and G? So functionality wise, there is no difference between D and F, D and G. Only some uh, what is called configuration difference and pricing difference. D5 can support only 5 NICs and D10 can support 10 NICs. So slight difference is there in terms of configuration and the pricing tier, but functionality wise, all are same. They all support load balancers. They all support SLA. They all support premium. So typically, functionality wise, there's a no difference between D and other virtual machines. Okay, very important point here is the 4 TB is the capacity what we have in Azure as of now. So each disk maximum capacity can be 4 terabytes. So in standard, it gives you 500 IO per disk, and in premium, you will get 7,500 IOPS per disk, which is very faster than standard. That's why premium is costly. And the disk format supported in Azure is VHD, which is very important to understand for future migration scenarios. Because end of the day, if you have a VMware server which you want to migrate to Azure, you have to convert VMDK file to VHD. Because end of the day, VHD is the only type of extension which supports under Azure. So Azure Virtual Machine supports all Windows, Linux, and all the servers, except few server roles are not supported like DSCP. Microsoft don't want that you make your own DSCP in Azure because they have that VNet, in Azure. So a couple of roles are not supported, features are not supported, like wireless. So Microsoft don't want that you should connect your wireless in Azure, and typically, there's no way to connect to the wireless because Azure is not fully under your control. So, so overall, as I said, D, E, F, G, functionality wise, there is no difference. Only the pricing tier difference and configuration difference. So that's why Microsoft divides these VMs into by the name, say compute optimized. Compute optimized means they have high CPU, less memory. 8 CPU, 4 GB memory, like that. Memory optimized is reverse. High memory, low CPU. 32 gig memory and only 4 CPU, like that. So these are the slight category difference which Microsoft disclosed. And but as a technical person, for me, I told you like D, E, and F, functionality wise, there's no difference. Whatever the job which you can do it in D3, same job is possible in D5. If if you really need more infrastructure, yes, you go with D5. Otherwise, D3 is enough. So there are three big methods which we use to create virtual machines. One is Portal, one is PowerShell, and one is template. So through Portal, I will show you example. So now Azure is there. So first is create a resource, networking, VNet, virtual network, VNet, prod environment. I told you I'm going to use 172.16.0.0/16 65,000 address space and subnet 1 172.16.0.0, and this is the way existing resource group East US create. It will take few seconds. Meanwhile, I'm going to create a VM. So 2016, you can search 2012 R2 from Marketplace. The deployment succeeded. So if you see VNet proj, I have address space which we define, which we can change. We can add something else. Subnets, I have subnet 1. I can add subnet 2. Gateway subnet to create gateway subnet or to virtual gateway. So I'm going to create my first virtual machine now, 2016 VM1 broad environment, East US, existing resource group, username, this will be a 15 characters minimum with complex. I want to allow RDP. We will discuss in the next session about NSG. NSG stands for Network Security Group, which is a firewall. So right now, I'm just typically allow RDP so that at least user can connect to the virtual machine, SSD disk, and we already have same VNet prod subnet 1 if you remember. So I'm not going to change anything here. Basic settings, auto shutdown rules, backup enable, disable. So no changes. Next and create. So you see, it take now 2-3 minutes to create this VM. And meanwhile, I'll go to one more example now. Under my sharing, Azure scripts, I have some scripts available with me. Create a VM. I will not run the script at this point of time, but still I will explain. So there's a script I have where it create a subnet, create a new resource group, create a new virtual network. It gives IP address. It create an inbound rule in the networking, 3389 port, RDP allow. It create your NSGs, it create your network, and finally give a credential to a VM, and finally VM configuration. So everything is done with a single script command. So there are two big methods to create a VM. One is PowerShell, one is through a portal. So in summary, you know what is the benefit of cloud computing. At summarize is you just pay whatever the number of hours you used. You can access 24/7, resource pooling. So these are the various advantages of cloud computing. What is virtual network? Virtual network is your like a DSCP, and we discussed so many points related to virtual network, which includes site to site, point to site, VNet to VNet, and VNet pairing. And the fastest connectivity is express route. Types of VMs, standard and basic. Basic won't have SLA, and basic won't support premium storage, and standard will support every functionality. So functionality wise, there's no difference between what is called D series, G series, and F series. Then we learn how to create a VNet and one VM through portal. Now I am ready to answer your queries. And overall, thank you very much for your joining. So please ask me some questions if you have any doubt, clarification on this. Yeah, Chris, Gary, Kevin, and few of them are joined over a phone. So your name is not displayed for me. So yes, everyone, any doubt, clarification for me?
I think we are good for now.
Okay.
Thank you, Vikas. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you, everyone, for attending the webinar. And we'll be sending out the recording shortly to everybody. And we do have our next webinar in the first week of December. And I'll be sending out the email by Monday to everyone. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you.